Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Clara. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another wonderful Tuesday night episode of Timeshare Tuesday Live Recap, where we will be covering the four most important topics, most interesting topics of the past week in the timesharing world. And I am truly thankful for all of you who have tuned in week after week, month after month. I don't know how long I've been doing this, a couple months now, to chat about timeshares on a Tuesday night when clearly there's nothing else more important going on. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate each and every one of you. I see Jeremy, Claire, Jim, usuals are on. Thank you so much. And with that said, we do have an extra bonus topic we'll talk about tonight. So technically be 5 topics, but uh, sit back down, enjoy your day. Hope you have a drink. And we will go ahead and say, Taman, thank you very much for tuning in. I keep forgetting to add to show all these. So thank you very much for all of you who have come in to tune. It is truly a wonderful thing that so many people want to chit chat about timeshares on a Tuesday night. Get your fill if you haven't got it during the week. So moving right along, getting started. Our first episode, which our first topic we're going to discuss that probably the most important topic of the year, obviously, is Tug's birthday. Tug this month turns 32 years old. 32 years old as a business, 32 years old as a website. For those of you that don't know, my father and a group of other timeshare owners started Tug on a Prodigy bulletin board. And that's why the Tug BBS still exists today, for those of you that don't know. The internet just didn't quite exist in the way we know about it today back in the early 1990s. And a group of owners were trying to share information and get information about timesharing. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. We are truly blessed that we have been able to maintain what we feel is the number one timeshare owner site on the internet for 3 decades now. But yeah, they started on Prodigy, just a very, very basic bulletin board of just posting questions and getting information from other owners. And that now has turned into what is truly the greatest source of information for timeshare owners on the internet anywhere. So to have a website and have a community that has thrived and excelled in its goal for 32 straight years over 3 decades is pretty amazing. I mean, that's older than Google. For those of you who aren't aware, it's crazy. We take advantage of how easy it is to get information on our phone or on a tablet. But in 1993, that technology was very in its infancy, we'll say. And Yahoo existed at that time, but the search engine as we know it now and the information out there just didn't exist. So to have this information and knowledge at your fingertips for free, there really is no excuse in this day and age for people not to get the information they need to know about their timeshare. And as long as I'm around, from my father was here, Tug always provided that information free and open to the public. We will continue to do so. And we truly thank those members who support Tug and have supported us over the years, and many of us who aren't with us anymore. But you pass on 30 years of ownership, and that's going to happen. And we're again truly blessed. This community, veteran founded. My father was member of the United States Navy, as a pilot. Thanks, Dad. And all the other people that have made Tug the way it is today, and I'm truly blessed and proud to pass on or to continue to run this site in what I feel is the way my father intended and those original owners intended, and allowing people to get the information they need, whether it's buying a timeshare, selling a timeshare, using a timeshare, exchanging a timeshare, doesn't matter. You got timeshare questions, we got timeshare answers, and you can email us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or go on the forums 24 hours, 7 days a week, and get information, help, and advice from owners just like you, which is exactly why Tug was started and exactly why it continues to thrive as its own unique community today. Thank you very much. Greetings. Happy birthday, man. So many people looking in. Thank you again so much. I'm truly blessed that Timeshare Tuesday, this 10 p.m. time slot, we're probably going to be here to stay. This seems to be the most popular time slot we've had the most activity, most interaction. Absolutely fantastic that we get so many people tuning in to chit chat about these most important, interesting topics. I will say that I threw last year's press release that we do for our birthday every year into AI, and I told it to spice it up a little bit, make it entertaining, and without obviously being vulgar or anything like that. And then here's what it came down to. I thought it was pretty good. Timeshare user group turns 32, still saving owners money, sanity, and vacation dreams. The first and largest online community celebrates 3 decades and counting of helping owners outsmart the industry. Nothing inaccurate about that. Grab a beach, share a slice of cake, because Tug, the original online community for timeshare owners, just turned 32 years old. Since 1993, Tug has been helping owners dodge scams, ditch high-pressure sale tactics, and make smarter vacation decisions before timeshare regret even has time to unpack its suitcase. I have to say, AI is not terrible. I probably couldn't have come up with anything better than that for an opening line if I tried. It is absolutely wild that how technology has gone from how Tug started in the fledgling early 1990s to now I can just type, hey, improve this press release, and it'll regurgitate and spit out something rather impressive. Obviously, it needs a few tweaks and such to be perfect, but again, in terms of time saving and creativity, just if this is the how AI is starting, I can't wait to see how it's going to end up in 10 years. Maybe, although it could be just like the Terminator movies and Skynet, stuff like that. Maybe I'll regret saying this. So in 10 years, we'll come back and revisit this video and see if thumbs up or thumbs down on AI at that time. So we'll still be here. We'll be 42 years old, and we'll have in this exact same Timeshare Tuesday topic, and then see how the foreshadowing plays out. But again, thank you so much for every single person, all the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of timeshare owners that have found Tug over the years, have chosen to participate, have chosen to contribute, have chosen to build and maintain and make Tug uh, how it is today, and how it will continue to focus itself as a resource for timeshare owners to access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to get the help and information that they need. I had a recent conversation through email. Someone felt bad in they didn't like with something on the website, didn't like the way it worked, something in the marketplace, and it was their option and or their suggestion and how they wished it worked was actually fantastic. But they were, somewhat they thought I was going to be offended by providing feedback or think of it as a complaint, and absolutely not the case. This site has existed and morphed itself over 30 years based on owner feedback and owner suggestions. So the fact that we get feedback, and if it's something that we can improve and we can make the site better, I guarantee you that you're not the only one that thinks that's the case. And we were happy to make that super simple change, as it turned out, and it absolutely made their day. And it's just a way that they can search in the marketplace now to make things easier for them. And I guarantee you they weren't the only person that had that problem. So if there is something on Tug, and if we can make Tug better, we will absolutely strive to achieve that, obviously within reason. There are certain things that technological limitations that we run into from time to time, but everything that you see on the Tug website, whether it's the forums, whether it's the marketplace, whether it's the ratings and reviews, and how the format's laid out, how our processes work, are all based on feedback we get from owners. If we get the same complaint, we make an effort to correct that, so we can address that. That said, any decision I make, any change I make to the site, it's not going to be everybody's not going to be happy with it. So we like to to at least sit down and take it into consideration what that change is going to do. But in most cases, we don't use, like, I personally, I run into how I look at a website and how I function on a website is totally different than how you might search or you might use a website or think something's intuitive. Login box being at the top right versus the top left, how to reset your password, this, that, and the other. So when I get feedback from owners, when I get the same feedback over and over, the same complaints over and over, that lets us change and make the site better. And now you're seeing 32 years of that, and how Tug exists today. And I guarantee in 5 years and 10 years, all of that'll change again based on user feedback and how technology comes available and how people like to get their information. We've seen a ton of change. People using social media, Facebook, specifically. There are groups out there starting up almost every day for specific resorts, and owners are joining those to share information. People that, but again, some people don't like Facebook, and they love the commercial forum software like Zenfor that we use on Tug. It provides the ability, in my opinion, to give a far more detailed and readable answer versus Facebook, which, in most cases, the vast majority of users on Facebook are using it on their phone. So yes, you could type a dissertation response on your phone, but most people just don't have time to do that. They're just typing a quick reply to give you an answer. So we find that, when people come looking for help and advice or detailed information about how to use their timeshare, or information about buying or selling or getting rid of a timeshare, having a way to provide a detailed, thought out, and easy to read response, even if you're reading it on your phone. Most people accessing Tug, although it's about a 50-50 split, can post that on their computer or their tablet versus just typing on their phone in a tiny social media response box. So the content that Tug provides and the detailed answers is what sets it apart from the rest. You will not find a better place. Even you find people on Facebook, and kudos to all of you out there on Tug who post links on Facebook. I see people posting, asking the same questions that are answered on the Tug forums, and pages and pages of responses from other owners. And that's what people are looking for. You're not looking for a single answer from a random person is one thing. Seeing dozens of owners respond and put their 2 cents in and give their information and opinion on the question that you were looking for, the answer, the question that you're seeking help for, just that value there is unrivaled. You just can't achieve that. And again, maybe 5 or 10 years, that'll all change, and we're all just browsing the internet in our head, sitting in a chair and have goggles on and virtual reality and stuff like that. But as it is now, there's just not a better place on the internet to get help and advice for a timeshare. Doesn't matter what timeshare you own, doesn't matter where you own, doesn't matter what your situation is. There are people on there who have been in your situation before and can help you and will do so 24 hours a day for free. So again, happy birthday to Tug. Here's 32 years. Here's to hoping that each and every one of you, I probably won't be here in 30 more years, but I'll be almost 80 years old. Maybe my son will take it over like I did for my father. But here's to as many more years, and Tug will be around for as long as the internet exists and as long as timesharing exists, helping people get the information and knowledge that they need to make educated, informed decisions relating to their timeshare. Moving on to item number 2, how to get a timeshare spammer to hang up on you. So I don't know if you're like me, and I'm guessing that you are. You get an absolutely ridiculous number of spam calls on your phone. Whether or not they go through, depending on what kind of software that you have. If you happen to have an app or something similar, like Android and Apple both have their individual applications that try to screen and prevent spam calls from actually getting through. I will say that mine works pretty well. However, it doesn't stop the voicemails. So I don't know if it's like you, but I just get a dozen voicemails, on a regular basis. And the call never came through because it was blocked as spam, but they still leave a message because there's a robocall or something like that. But for those of you that do get calls that come through, because they're very, very creative, and I've seen tons of scams that show up as local numbers, and I'll usually answer a local 904 area code number because who knows, maybe about my kids or something like that if they don't happen to be home. But when you see stuff like that and you answer it and you get a spammer, the different options you have and how you handle that range from just immediately hanging up to having a little fun with them, to trying to waste their time, to screaming and hollering and getting angry at them, and making them question their life choices of why they want to scam people for a living or rip people off. I've probably, if you're like me, have done more than those options from time to time. I actually had a Google scammer hang up on me, and it was fake, but just played along. Yeah, no, again, I think everyone has had one of those reactions, multiple of those reactions versus just hanging up. It really depends on, what you're doing at the time. If I'm busy, it annoys me, and I'll usually just hang up so I don't have time to even play or play along or get mad or anything like that. If I'm in a playful mood or have some free time, I'll play along. One recently got me, and someone just posted about it on here. The quote unquote sheriff officer that called you and claimed that you missed jury duty. I admit that the gentleman sounded legit. He claimed he was from the local sheriff's office. I didn't fill out a form. He was basically just started asking me questions about, did you get the form? Did you fill it out? He wasn't asking for any information or personal stuff. And he got to that later. But it sounded legitimate. I was like, oh crap. I don't remember getting a jury duty summons, or I do months ago, but and then eventually it was, hey, we need you to go online and fill it in there. Right there, the alarm bells started ringing, and I went into it. Hey, what's your badge number? And he just started reading off numbers and letters, and I knew it was immediately nonsense. But someone else mentioned they got that, and scammers are creative. It would not surprise me one bit if I could fall for something like that initially, that my mother or any elderly person would think that's legitimate. And I remember seeing mentions where scammers will call and claim that your granddaughter or significant or daughter or something like that is in jail and you need to pay to get them out, or have some sort of suit filed, and or they're in trouble, and they whatever it happens to be, pull on the heartstrings, make it sound legitimate in an effort to obviously get personal information, or what eventually would be the goal is for them to get you to send them money. So I personally, my go-to is, if I know it's a scammer right off the bat, I will absolutely sound interested right off the bat. Hey, 1 second, let me get to a different phone, or let me get to this, and then I'll just put the phone down, and just let them how long, make them think they're interested, so they're not going to hang up immediately, and see how long they're actually willing to sit on the phone and wait for you to come back, and before they eventually realize that they need to hang up and go on to the next person. I've had timeshare scammers call me, exit company scams, people calling about that similar postcard stuff, and sometimes I'll play along and attempt to get them to regurgitate something ridiculous. And I like to always ask the question. We had another this last week or the week before, where I like to know if the person calling knows they work for a scammer. Meaning, are you just reading off a script and you have no idea you're legitimately harming people in the case of this timeshare exit company? Or do you feel that you're in on it? You 100% know you're ripping people off, and you're just putting on a good front and trying to sound legitimate, knowing full well that you're ripping people off. For me, there's a difference. If someone is just reading off a script and doesn't really know, they probably feel in the back that this isn't the greatest thing in the world, but don't feel that they're outright ripping people off. Whereas other people just don't care. They know how much they're being paid. They know exactly what they're doing, and their goal is to get you to send them money regardless. They 100% know that they're ripping you off. Their entire YouTube channel set up for people to fight back against these scammers, and especially people that especially the centers, the overseas call centers that will have you do the Microsoft support stuff where they'll get you to click on a link and they'll take over your PC and get you to send the money or get your bank information by being able to see your screen and see your passwords and be able to get that. And they just absolutely rob people of their entire life savings. It's amazing to me to see some of these YouTube sites or YouTube channels that companies or individuals will actively go after these and attempt to hack the hackers and crash their systems and delete their or at least try to bring that information, give it to the people at law enforcement that can either intercept the money that's sent or gift cards or whatever, so that these people aren't ripped off for tens of thousands of dollars. But going back to the timeshare side, the scams have existed since Tug has existed, since timeshares existed. They're not going to go away anytime soon. I don't believe that there's any hope that law enforcement is going to make a giant sweeping hammer crackdown of the timeshare scams that are out there. It's not just timeshare scams. I mean, these same call scams exist across a myriad of platforms: insurance, home, the card, anything, any possible topic, your individual school, anything they can call, utility bills. Hey, you didn't pay your bill, we're about to turn it off. Anything that can establish a set of urgency that makes you make a rushed decision, that if you had time to think about it and sit down, much like buying a timeshare, if you had time to go back and think about it, you probably wouldn't do it. But to create this sort of fear of missing out, an emergency that you need to take care of right then and there, and sending money is absolutely mind-blowing how effective that these scams are, not just for regular people, but for the elderly who just, it's a different generation. They're far more trusting. I get all the time from my mother. She'll forward me emails that are 100% scams. I mean, there's just nothing about that is legitimate. And she'll ask, hey, do you think this is legit? No, it's not legit. It's ridiculous. This is totally a scam. But I can see how those are effective at manipulating and exploiting those who would otherwise be trusting and just can't possibly fathom that this is 100% a scam, someone lying to you and trying to get you to fill out credit card information or buy something from them just to rip you off. It is well. Speaking of Facebook scammers, I saw someone offering Marriott sale leads on a Facebook group. I get that every single day. I get an email asking to buy contacts, buy leads, in unlimited quantities. I can buy as many as I want. So your lists are out there, your contact information's out there. Every system, every owner, there is a list out there of current owners and their contact information, your phone number, email, and anyone can buy it at any time. It's absurd how easy it is to do that. And so, I wouldn't blink an eye at that. I have no doubt now how accurate is that data. It doesn't really matter when you're buying 50,000 names, even if only 20% of them are still valid. That's still tens of thousands of legitimate owners that you can start calling or start emailing and start again, even if your return on scam, we'll call it ROS instead of ROI, is a fraction of a percent. When you're talking, you have 20,000 phone numbers at 500 or $1,000 a pop. That's lucrative for making a bunch of phone calls when there's no overhead and nothing to set up. So yes, those owners lists are out there, and you can buy them in unlimited quantities, however you want. It's just a really, really ugly industry. And I don't know how you would go about getting your contact information off that other than changing it. But that doesn't really accomplish a whole lot, because you'd have to keep it updated for them to send you your maintenance fee bills and information about the resort. And thus you would end up on another list again. Just a really, really, really sad situation all around. So, my best solution to get a scammer to hang up you, again, the one my tried and true is, hey, oh man, that sounds amazing. I'm trying to, let me, I just sat down for dinner. Just hang on, let me put this up. I want to go into another room and get a better phone call, or let me get off my cordless and so I can sit down and talk to you about it, and put the phone down. and then just go on about your day. It doesn't really matter how long they sit on the phone. It's not costing you anything. And while they're wasting time sitting on hold with you, waiting for you to come back, they're not calling and trying to scam someone else. So that's my solution. So again, a lot of people engage them, call them out on their nonsense, and eventually they'll realize that they're not going to get anything from you, and they'll just hang up and move on to their next call, because their goal is to get the low hanging fruit. They're not there to try and outsmart you. They're not there to try and argue with you. They're looking for low hanging fruit and people that are immediately going to give that credit card information. It's easy and as quickly as possible, not to to sit and ramble on, kind of like I'm doing right now. So going on to option 3. Whoops, I scrolled that one all the way down. This one was what has changed? That's not right. That's an old one. So haha, there, that was last week. Sorry. $40 deposit. This is a wild one for me. I have not encountered this yet, where resorts are now, at least this one was Polo Towers and Hilton Vacation Club, or Diamond Resorts. I don't want to, I've never heard of a Hilton Grand Vacation Club doing this, but charging you $40 as a deposit to attend a sales presentation. That's just insane. Like making it seem like it's required that you have to when you sign up for the sales presentation, is a $40 deposit to ensure you show up. That's nuts. I mean, and I guess many people, or the way it's presented by the concierge or the front desk, or whoever is prompting it to you, makes it seem like it's mandatory, like you have to pay this, like there's no way around it. And that's just absolute horseshit. I would laugh in someone's face if they wanted to charge me a $40 deposit for a sales presentation. And as mentioned later on down in the discussion, you tell them no thanks. I just won't. I'm not paying a $40 deposit. They'll still schedule your sales presentation. Again, it's just a way to just another money grab, whether that's paid to the concierge as a bonus to schedule that, and then obviously I would assume you're getting this back as a refund. I don't know of anybody who's ever had to pay $40 and didn't get that back if they attended the sales presentation. But to see people doing this, Wyndham started it years ago with the parking pass, and that's caught on like wildfire. Certainly hope this $40 charge doesn't catch on, in which you will, hey, check in, you're all good. Hey, just take a step right over there to the concierge desk, and they'll get you set up with a parking pass. Okay, and then to do that, she's giving you the sales pitch and getting you to sign up for a tour, or owner update, or sales presentation, just to get your parking pass, which I guess is just wildly successful, because I have seen it almost across all the states. Holiday Inn, I've seen it. Wyndham, I've seen it. Marriott, I've even seen it. That seems to have become the norm in having to schedule sales, or making it seem like you have to schedule a sales presentation to get your parking pass, when in actuality you can still say no, and they're not going to deny you your parking pass for check in. But they make it seem like it's getting the people who are less inclined to say no, or less inclined to push back or put their foot down and say, absolutely not, just give me my parking pass, I want to go to my room. You don't want to start your vacation off with a negative. So people tend to be, hey, okay, no problem, I'll just yada, yada, yada. And I have a feeling that there's a good percentage of people that are, okay, no problem, charge me $40, I'll get it back. And you're far more inclined to go to a sales presentation if you agree to that, because you don't now, instead of getting $200 or $150, you're now going to lose $40 if you decide not to go. They hate you. I don't drive. No, we have checked in, I would say the last 5 resorts we've checked into, driven to, obviously in Orlando, Daytona, and Cape Canaveral and such. All of them have required a parking pass at a separate desk. All of them have attempted the sales pitch schedule. Maybe they'll give you, maybe now it's a room key. I mentioned that. Someone mentioned the thing to get your room key now, is you have to go to the concierge desk, and they call it, or what was the one, just the Westgate, not the Westgate, Orange Lake, Associated Holiday and Vacation Club. So the parking pass, and to activate, that was what they're saying, to activate your armbands. That I hated those things. I had to take them off to use them anywhere, just because you couldn't stick your, it was, that's a whole story for another time. But to activate your armband or activate your room key, anything to get you over to that desk, obviously, and get the next person started to check in, to get someone who is not there at all to do anything related to checking you in, but is just there as part of the sales team to get you to schedule a sales presentation. It's just that, again, the creativity in the marketing for timeshares is unparalleled. Maybe the only thing that rivals them is how creative scammers are in getting that stuff. Yes, key, wristband, absolutely. It's crazy. And the average person checking in would have no idea. They say it's perfectly innocent. Oh, okay, cool. I'll just go over and get my wristband and get it. It's a separate desk, and they got and then that person's, they're very, very low key and underhanded about it. Hey, how you doing? Hope that's nice. Here's all the information about the resort. Blah 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 blah. By the way, and to see people now, see it now morphing into an actual charge, obviously a refundable charge if you go, but it's at face value, it's brilliant because again, you are now very, very much engaging people in attending that sales presentation because there's plenty of people who say, yeah, sign it up for me, and then go and plug your phone, and you'll never hear from me again. And as long as I'm not on tour, I'm just not going to that thing, or wouldn't feel bad about skipping it if they had something else to do that day or going to a park or something like that. But now you putting skin in the game to confirm your reservation to your owner update. I have to imagine that has just changed conversions from people attending sales presentations by a significant percentage. And further explain, if it didn't work, they wouldn't be doing it. So truly, truly frustrating that it's now come to this. But just tug tip is that is 100% not a rule, not a requirement. You are not obligated whatsoever to fork out money to schedule a sales presentation. So please, please, however you want to politely decline or just flat out laugh in their face or whatever range of no you want to give to them, make sure that answer is no. Owners should not be forking out money to hold their spot at a sales presentation. It's just one of the more deplorable things that the timeshare industry is choosing to do to exploit its owners. I just don't have any better way to say that. So moving on to option number 4, HGVC Resale is the site where the deed located is important. This is a great thread. I get questions all the time on, obviously, Tug is a hotbed of people who are interested in buying timeshares or have recently bought timeshares or hopefully have recently bought timeshares rescinded and are now exploring the resale market because they didn't previously know it existed. Hilton Grand Vacation Clubs is an amazing timeshare to buy on the resale market because of the limited penalties that they're placed on the resale buyer, meaning your points are treated almost 100% the same as someone who bought on the resale market, the retail market, paid full price, and you can get them for pennies on the dollar. If in some cases you can buy them even free. Now there are obviously stipulations in buying it any timeshare on the resale market or any timeshare retail. It doesn't matter. Doing your research is super important, and that's exactly what this person did. They found Tug. They're looking at buying on the resale market. The presentation was for $32,000 with lots of bonus points, blah, 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 blah. Seeing 11,000 points at multiple HGV sites, Orlando and Las Vegas for very low prices, 14,000 at Maui Bay for 25K. Is there an advantage to buying resale points versus buying Bay points in Orlando and simply using those points to book at Maui Bay? This is a fantastic question. This is something that before you buy, if you can't answer this question as a regular timeshare, and you should not be buying a timeshare, period. So to be able to answer these questions and to still have these questions, meaning you are not ready to buy a timeshare, much less even resale, even if you're giving it for free. So the Tug answer, which is given, obviously there's some amazing HGVC experts here on the forum. Points are points. At the end of the day, Hilton Grand Vacation Club points are Hilton Grand Vacation Club points. And I will mention the caveat, please, please, please do not confuse, despite the deliberate similar sounding names from Diamond Resorts being renamed to Hilton Vacation Club, there is a vast chasm of difference between Hilton Grand Vacation Clubs, the original Hilton timeshare, and Hilton Vacation Club, which was Diamond Resorts, which is still its own independent system despite being purchased by Hilton Grand Vacations Club and operated. They just changed the name. It is still Diamond Resorts. They are not the same no matter what anyone tells you. Hilton didn't buy Diamond and then absorb all of the Diamond resorts and didn't convert all of the Diamond points 1-to-1. It is not the same system, period. I get this question on a regular basis. Someone thinks that they're, I see it in the emails all the time. I used to own Diamond Resorts and Hilton bought them. Now I own Hilton Grand Vacations. No, you don't. You own Hilton Vacation Club, which is still Diamond Resorts. But going back to the original point, when we're talking about Hilton Grand Vacations Club, yes, points are points. But the most important thing to know about Hilton points is that the maintenance fees on those points is different from resort to resort. So when you're buying 14,000 points at resort A and 14,000 resorts at 14,000 points at resort B are not going to be the same maintenance fee. Now, that said, the difference is not going to be staggering, but when you're talking about thousands of dollars a year multiplied by 10, 15, 20 years because you're buying this forever, it is important. Why would you deliberately pay 15 cents a point? I'm just making up numbers here. When you could buy it 8 cents a point for maintenance fees, combine that by 14,000 points. That's a lot of money per year that you would be throwing away for the same amount of points. Now, why would someone buy at a specific resort? There is one neat feature in Hilton Grand Vacations is that at your home resort, you are able to book 12 months out. So if you buy at, for example, this Maui Bay Vacation Club, you were able to reserve, you buy a 2-bedroom there at 14,000 points. I think that's what they said. I can reserve a 2-bedroom in my season at that resort at 12 months. Whereas all the other systems, and even at that resort, it's not a 2-bedroom or a different season. All the other resorts, I can only book it 9 months out. So if I absolutely needed to go to Maui Bay Villas and I needed to have a 2-bedroom during the summer season, if I didn't want to struggle to try and reserve that at 9 months, then I would want to buy at that location because now I can reserve 3 months before anyone else. Now, obviously, I'm still competing with all of the other owners at that resort that own 2 bedrooms there. They can reserve it 12 months out. But if that extra 3 months of booking at that resort means something to you, then it might be worth paying more in annual maintenance fees for that same number of points. If you could care less and you were happy at booking it 9 months out and you just don't care where you stay in the Hilton system, then you're looking for the absolute best or lowest maintenance fee point per dollar that you can get. And in most cases, I think Craig and Durach in Scotland is probably the cheapest one that I've seen out there. But Vegas buying, I think it's Park Soleil or Boulevard. There you go. So we're looking at 10 cents a point. 10 cents a point or less is really what you're looking at. That's the sweet spot. If you can get 10 cents a point, you're doing great. If you can get less than that, I think I've seen 9 cents and 8 cents at some. But it's simple math. You look at how many points you get, and you look at how much maintenance fees are, and that's your maintenance fee per point. So there's really no reason to pay 12 or 14 or 16 cents a maintenance fee buying at a Hilton Grand Vacation Club resort, especially if you never want to go there. If you just want points, yes, points are points. So buy the points that give you the cheapest maintenance fees. Now, the downside of that is you're buying platinum at one of these resorts and buying these high number of points. They probably aren't going to be free. So again, more math needs to come into play. If you're going to pay $4,000 for a point system just to get lower maintenance fees, well, how long is it going to take you to recoup that $4,000 over 10 years versus if you bought it at another location that had maybe, a tenth of a cent per point more in maintenance fees? Because again, if you're not going there, if you don't need that 12-month booking window for that home resort, there's absolutely no reason to buy at that resort. You can buy in any Hilton Grand Vacation Club point program, and you're looking for one that gives you the lowest maintenance fee per point value. So that's the second tug tip of the day. First tug tip: don't pay $40 to attend a timeshare sales presentation. And 2, if you're looking to buy Hilton Grand Vacation Clubs on the resale market, look for the resorts that offer the lowest maintenance fee per point. And again, it's simple math. Divide your maintenance fees by the number of points that you get. Come up with a number. The sweet spot you're looking for is 10 cents a point or less. And if you're looking at that, it's probably a pretty good deal, especially if you're getting it for free, because you're already saving what this person saved. If they bought $32,000, if they were able to buy, what would they say? I think it was 8,000 points. Meaning if you buy 8,000 platinum points or 8,000 points anywhere, I bet you could get 8,000 points at Tuscany for free. I'd be willing to bet if I went on Tug right now, I could probably find. So $32,000. How much can I save even if I paid too much? If I pay over 12 or 13 cents a point in maintenance fees buying there, the fact that I saved $32,000, I'm still well in the black, and I'm probably never going to come out of that in the lifetime of owning that. So buying resale is key. If you really want to excel and extract squeeze the absolute most you can out of your vacation dollar, then searching for those ultra low maintenance fee per point contracts on the resale market. You might pay a little bit more for them up front, but it's going to pay off in the long run, especially if you plan to own the timeshare for 10, 20, 30 years. So that would be the end of the 4 items. And now we talk about our bonus item. And I think I've mentioned it every single week, but I want to get it in here. I just can't say this enough. I see people every single day on our Facebook page, on our email, on the forum posts that are, Wyndham owners that are just now finding out that a dozen some odd resorts are closing. It is wild to me how poor effort and communication has done to get in touch with these owners, because most of these have now already sent out or weeks ago, and some of you have already had the meetings to have the vote for the bankruptcy and the Chapter 11 liquidation sales that are happening at pretty much all of these resorts. I haven't seen any of them that have provided any other options than those going forward. But to see people who, hey, I just heard about this, and the vote was last week, and they should have gotten communication, is there just shouldn't be this many people. I mean, Tug is a very, very small percentage of the timeshare industry as a whole in terms of the owners it reaches. So the fact that we get so many people that are just now finding out, or saw our Facebook post, or saw something on Facebook, or saw one of our videos talking about the Wyndham Resorts closing. We've been talking about it for a couple months now, The fact that they've still not got any communication from their resort, or still not got any email or phone call or anything like that, had no idea these votes are taking place. Now, the downside is it looks like it doesn't matter. Meaning, if you didn't get a notification that to cast your vote, or a notification of the special meeting, in almost all of these resorts, and if I'm wrong, I'll happily admit to being wrong, but I didn't see a single one where Wyndham didn't have enough votes to pass the measures to get the agreements to whatever motions that they were making, via proceed with bankruptcy, proceed with liquidation, to proceed to prepare the resort for sale, and so on and so forth. So it's disappointing, it's depressing, it's not what people want to hear. The fact that all this is taking place, and it's not only did they not hear about it, but they don't really have any say. Yes, you could have voted no. Yes, you could have. It didn't really matter what you had to vote, because Wyndham and all of the percentage of intervals that they own, be it through the certified exit program, through foreclosure, for whatever happens to be, Wyndham seemed to own a super majority in almost all of these resorts, at least all of the ones that I've seen. So whatever vote they wanted to take place, which in each and every one of them was bankruptcy, and to pursue liquidation and the sale of the resort, it's just, that's there's not really any way to stop that with your vote. That said, just to get it out there, every single Wyndham owner in these situations that owns at one of these resorts has essentially two options at this point. The first is to ride it out, meaning if you just don't do anything and you don't vote and you don't do anything else, you're likely going to just get a check for a small pittance when the resort is finally sold. After all of the bankruptcy costs are involved, after all the lawyers are paid, after all of the taxes, whatever repairs and such have to be made to pay next year's maintenance fee, since no one's going to be paying it, whatever's left over, you get 1/51st of one room. And I think someone estimated in one that was going to be somewhere around $400, which is yippee, probably a fraction of what you paid in maintenance fees. So the good news is, if you do nothing, you're likely to get a check. Now, the bad news is that check's probably not going to be very large. And the double bad news is you're not going to be an owner anymore. You're not going to just not really, your ownership is going away. You will be reimbursed, for whatever that sale price is for the sale of that, for whatever deed that you owned. And the second option is you will receive communication from the resort after all of this process has gone through, to be able to convert your deeded week that you had, even if it was in Wyndham points, to a Club Wyndham Access membership and the equivalent number of points. If you had 154,000 points for your deeded Fairfield, whatever, you will be allowed to transfer that if you want to remain a Wyndham owner. Obviously, you're not going to be an owner at that resort, so you'll be back in, you still have those points to reserve at any Wyndham resort, but you'll be in the general pool, so to speak, and making reservations. And these resorts will no longer be in the Wyndham system, so you won't have access to them at all. But those are your two options in a nutshell. Obviously, all this is going to play out over the course of absolutely, Billy. It's going to take 2 years. I don't expect any of this to seek a resolution anytime soon. But this is the way it's going. The cards are on the table, and there's not really any changing. But I will say that the very most important thing, I can't express this enough to people: if you own at these resorts and you plan on going there in 2026, you need to make other arrangements. Wyndham has been very, very clear from the start that these resorts are going to shut down at the end of this year, 12/31/2025. As of January 2026, you're not going to be able to check in. If you have reservations at any of these resorts in 2026, it's not all Wyndham resorts, and there will be a link. I'll provide it down in the description again, or you can go on the Tug website. It's the most popular thread on Tug going on the past 2 months. There's roughly 13 total Wyndham resorts that are closing, ceasing operations, and will be, sold off under Chapter 11 bankruptcy at the end of this year. If you have reservations, whether it's an exchange reservation, I don't care if it's not even a Wyndham reservation, even if you're not an owner, if you own at these resorts and you are planning to go there next year, you need to make other arrangements. Yes, you might be compensated by Wyndham. You might get some sort of certificate, or they'll try to make an arrangement to put you somewhere else. But do not count on being able to visit that resort and check in. It's just not going to happen. So if you have flights, if you plan on driving, again, this is important stuff to handle now. Even if it's late in 2026 or the end of 2026, you've already made your reservations or you had it reserved for a while, whatever the case may be. If you're staying or had an active reservation at one of these resorts, and especially if you're flying or have other travel arrangements for a long trip, please, please, please make other arrangements, because you're not likely the chances of you being able to check in, I have to say at this point, are zero. So to recap, if you own at one of these resorts, you are likely have already the the votes for this have already taken place. These resorts are being liquidated and being sold, and no longer going to be in the Wyndham system at the end of this year. That is 2025, not 2026. So starting in January, none of these resorts can be available for check-in. If you choose not to do anything and you let this play out, eventually in a few years, you will likely to see a check for your value of the proceeds of that sale. Or for those of you that do continue to want to be Wyndham owners, it's not all doom and gloom. You can transfer your existing ownership and you will get literature either from your resort or directly from Wyndham with the process to do that, to transfer for a one-to-one swap, however many points you had in the old Fairfield/Wyndham system to go into Club Wyndham Access, which I think their maintenance fees will probably be about the same. It won't be a significant difference one way or another. However, it will still allow you to have the same number of points that you had in the Wyndham system, with the caveat is your resort's no longer going to be there, meaning you can't reserve there, period. It's just no longer going to be an active resort within the Wyndham system, if it's even going to be a resort at all. All of that is still up in the air. So hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I hate to keep bringing this up each and every week, but I just can't tell you how many questions and how many emails and how many Facebook posts that we get on a regular basis for people that are just discovering this. So the more I can say it, and I'll make it, I'll split this up and make its own little YouTube short out of it. So the more and more people that are finding out about this through Tug, through Facebook, through however, and not through their resort, not through Wyndham, is just it's wild to me that these votes are already taking place. Certainly already scheduled, happening in October or even in November. So, but the writing is on the wall. So it doesn't really matter if you attended the meeting or not. It still sucks that you didn't get notified of it, but it is what it is. This Wyndham has the votes and the number of shares, the majority of shares and the majority of votes to be able to proceed with this in the way they see fit. And it seems like all of these resorts are going to pursue Chapter 11 bankruptcy, to be liquidated and be sold off to some party to be named later. So again, your options are hold it out and you'll get a check, probably not for very much amount of money, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road. Thankfully, you don't have to pay maintenance fees in all that time. It seems all of them are suspending the collection of maintenance fees until this is sorted out. Or you can choose to transfer your existing points into Club Wyndham Access points and remain in the Wyndham program. Thus, you will at least be able to use, at least I hope so, fingers crossed, they haven't really hashed out details that. I hope you'll be able to use your 150 or 250 or however many 1,000 Wyndham points that you have in 2026 or 2027 to stay at other resorts. So again, I will keep harping on this until we see some closure, because again, if I can just reach 1 or 2 people per, or hundreds of people or thousands of owners, I'm doing a better job than Wyndham is, because they're not really saying much anything to their owners and relying on the homeowners associations to communicate. And from what I see, that they're not doing a very good job of it. Looking at the attendance at some of these meetings that have already taken place, it's not a lot in terms of owners. Wyndham obviously is attending with the number of votes that they have to cast in the fashion that they see fit, but owners are either just don't care or throw up their hands or extremely pissed off, or are just want it to end. I would imagine that a very large percentage of owners are happy that they can do nothing and not pay maintenance fees anymore, and then eventually get a check on down the road. So if that's where you are, then kudos to you. But if you're in a situation where you really, really like the ownership at Fairfield Glade or Bentley Brook or any of the dozen resorts that are officially closing, I truly, it's a sad situation that those resorts are closing down and you're no longer going to have access to that. But at least your options to be done with your timeshare and maybe get a small check at the end, or to convert your ownership to Club Wyndham Access so that you can still use your Wyndham points and still take good Wyndham vacations, just not at the resorts that are closing, as they just won't be a part of it anymore. So with that said, if you have any questions about any of these comments, I will have links down below in the description of this. Leave comments, questions. I'm happy to answer them. But unless anyone else has any questions for tonight to chit chat, I know we have a lot of new people online. And again, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to go ahead and call it. We're right at 45 minutes, and I think we have achieved all of our goals for Timeshare Recap Tuesday here. Coming up on Halloween. It's my wife's birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to sign off, wake up early, cook her some breakfast, to take the kids to school, and she's going to enjoy today at the spot. So you are very welcome. Thank you very much. You Matt, thank you much for tuning in, and you have yourself a great week as well. Happy birthday, Tug. Happy birthday to my wife. Later on, it's my birthday. So you guys, and Halloween baby here. We will have a wonderful giveaway for Tug's birthday. I forgot to mention that we will have another giveaway. I've been slacking. I haven't picked the winners for the last giveaway, but we'll absolutely have a Halloween / Tug birthday giveaway. Give a bunch more free memberships out. Again, it's saying thank you for all of those who support Tug. So you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much for tuning in. Good night and happy timesharing.